I've started probably 7 or 8 years ago with a professor from SCOSA and it was in the library in Atlantic City, and that purpose was to do biographies. And that lasted about 8 weeks, and after it ended, she invited me to join a group that she has had in Avalon. And so I went down there, assuming that we were still doing biographies or autobiographies, and it turned out to be a poetry class. And of course I said to her, well, what am I doing here? I have never written poetry. So she says, I'll give it a try. And so, here I am 200 poems later.
One of the members of the group was the one that invited me. I did not know about SCOSA in any other way, and she said that she thought, since I liked to write so much, that I would like the poetry class. And I joined it. She's a breast cancer survivor, and I joined it to spend time with her. And then had this wonderful experience of spending time with all of these wonderfully creative people. And I love being around people that create in any way, whatever it is.
SCOSA has been a real gift to me because I need some kind of creative outlet. I don't really have time with a busy schedule, but this gives it to me, and I can't express enough how grateful I am and how it has enriched my life.
I've been doing the SCOSA Tour of Poetry series since 2016, January 2016. My brother Bud Cole invited me, told me it was a really fun group, which it is. I've learned encouragement from these new friends, the importance of using titles. I was not very strong on that. And I've learned some new forms.
I think I started writing initially, as I said, through the fact that South Jersey offered this program for seniors. And also there's this whole community of writers that I discovered, through the Northfield Tour of Poetry. SCOSA had a member writing group, and that
were saying how much they liked the Northfield poetry group. What I like about this poetry group, I never considered myself a poet. I actually never wrote a poem from the time I got out of high school until I came here. But what I liked was definitely the different guest poets every month, because there's such a different perspective and so many different things to learn. So I love the forgetting of the whole world and just using my mind, to learn something new. So that I really love. And then, so SCOSA is a very nice group, and since I have lost my family of origin from old age and cancer and such, this is a monthly occasion that I feel is like family, and I enjoy it very much.
Every month at Tour of Poetry, we had someone who was versed in a new culture, and he or she was always willing, indeed eager, to share it with us. And especially to an older person, they use the term senior citizen, but so be it. 75 years in here, and so there's no other way to put it, but I'm learning, I'm imparting knowledge to my granddaughter, I'm putting together a library for her.
This is going to be a poem. But how do you get from observation and inspiration to the creation of a poem? And for me, that's where the professional poets with the Tour of Poetry has been indispensable for me.
I think that SCOSA, for me, is one of the greatest assets in our community. Poetry has really taught all of us in the class how to really turn our thoughts into effective writing.
No, I have not always written poetry, but this has infused, I'm more of a prose writer, but this has infused my prose writing, I think, with a more sensory kind of flavor. I try to incorporate what I learned here through the absolutely fantastic instructors that you have presented us with.
I discovered that this whole different genre of poetry that was, there's so many ways you can express yourself, So I think I gained confidence through the program. program. And I also gained confidence through the community of writers in South Jersey. And of course, you have your work above with the poetry.
Seriously, this is a wonderful, warm, welcoming, gathering place. And to
Each time gets better. You know, the poets that come are phenomenal. Emery has done a fabulous job about getting people, a wide variety of people, with a wide variety of different kinds. Before this, I didn't even know that poems didn't have to rhyme. I still was in that genre. So that even just opened my eyes.
It's like having education and you don't even have to pay for it. So it's really wonderful.
Well, I never studied poetry formally. Took a lot of writing classes in college, but never poetry for some reason. And just to be exposed to these different professionals who each month teach a different form of poetry. I actually wrote a poem in iambic pentameter from the group.
They taught us many different components of good poetry. We learned different poetic structures, we learned form, we learned how to use tone and voice effectively, and best of all, I and the rest of the people in our class get the opportunity to practice whatever we've been learning during the session. And we get feedback from the presenters and also from our fellow classmates.
It's a nice group, and it's done very well. It's done professionally, and I do feel that it motivates me to write and actually to improve.
And then when we share the experiences, everyone has the same prompt, and then to go around the room and hear 20 different experiences from the same prompt, I love getting to know my fellow, I would say at this point, friends. So thank you very much.
What I've gained from the Tour of Poetry is, first of all, the instruction by local poets who are professional teachers and are also published poets. Most of all, though, it's the meeting of new people and the camaraderie with others aspiring poets. And finally, it's the intellectual challenge of learning a new craft, the craft of writing, and then the subsequent satisfaction of creating a piece of art. Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you, Gary. And thank you.